What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video of Triple Ball Breakdown. We got a very fun episode today. So, baseball. We're doing baseball today, as you can see from the thumbnail and the cover, the title of the video too. So I've been doing a lot of football videos and basketball videos recently, so this is going to be the first baseball video in like a few weeks. And it's going to be very fun because the postseason has finally started. The bracket is out. Games were on yesterday. There's games on today. So yeah, I have those games over here, and the box scores and everything. So I'll be talking about that during the stream, or not the stream, the video. But I'll just be going over all that stuff, and it will be fun. I'll just talk about my predictions, some hot takes, and everything, and who I think is going to win the World Series. I'll say that eventually. And this is going to be a very fun video today, so I'm excited to get into it. It should be fun. But before we go to that, I just want to quickly say that once this channel, I normally have like 40 to 50 minute videos on here, but once this channel gets to 200 subscribers, we'll increase those videos up to like an hour and a half to 2 hours, so that'll be fun. And I love making this content, so I'm excited for when that comes. And yeah, I post almost every day, so it's fun, and I hope I can do more of it. So right now, if I'm gonna explain to you how the brackets work. In MLB, it's not like best out of 7 for every series like it is in basketball, or in football. It's just like one game and it's over. There's no really series. It's more just like games. Give me a second. So basically, it's like there's gonna be series. Some of them will be best out of 3. Some of them will be best out of 5. Some of them will be best out of 7. So I'll explain it in a second. So basically, the way it works is so there's the American League and the National League, AL and NL. There's 6 teams, from each. From the AL, and 6 teams from the NL that make the playoffs or the postseason. The top 2 teams in each division get a bye. So the way a bye works is the other 4 teams have to play, but if you're a top 2 team in your division, then you get to skip the first series. So right now, I'm going to start out with the AL, and then I'll go to the NL. Right now in the AL, the series are, the 4 seed is the Yankees, and they're playing the 5 seed Red Sox. I'll give my prediction on that in a second. The 3 seed is the Guardians, and they're playing the 6 seed Tigers. And then the winner of the Yankees and Red Sox series will play the 1 seed Blue Jays in the American League Division Series. I think that's what it's called, ALDS. And then the winner of the Guardians and Detroit Tigers series will play the Seattle Mariners, who are the 2 seed. So the first series is a best out of 3, so first team to win 2 games. The second series is a best out of 5, so first team to win 3 games. And then the semifinals and the World Series are both best out of 7. So basically, I'm going to give my predictions for the AL first, and then I'll go to the NL. So I'm going to talk first. The first series we're going to talk about is the Yankees and Red Sox series. So both these teams are really good. The Yankees are a much more strong team. They're more powerful. They have Aaron Judge, who's an MVP candidate. I think he's probably the MVP. They also have just so much depth. In the postseason, you only in terms of pitching, depth doesn't really matter that much, because you only are starting your best pitchers, because you're only playing 4 games, 5 games, whatever. It depends on the series and if you're winning or losing, whatever. Point is that you're only doing your best, your best pitchers. You're only putting in your best pitchers. The Yankees have great pitchers, but they don't have depth, so they're suited perfectly for the postseason. And they have so many good players: Jazz Chisholm Jr., Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, it goes forever. And like, if I just think that they're just such a strong team. But if you look at the Red Sox, the Red Sox are also a good team. They traded away Rafael Devers to the Giants not too long ago, but they still have other talent in their roster. They have Garrett Crochet, who threw a great game yesterday, and the Red Sox took a 1-0 lead in the series. So if the Red Sox win today, which the game is going on right now, and it's going to end before this video ends, so I'll tell you if they win or lose. If the Red Sox win today, then the Yankee season is over. If the Yankees win today, then tomorrow, the winner of tomorrow's game advances and the loser's out. So my prediction is that the Yankees win this series. I say in 3 games, obviously, because it can't be in 2 because they already lost a game. But right now it's 3-3 in the middle of the 7th inning. So basically, the reason why I had the Yankees winning in 3, and I had them winning in 3 before they lost today, I never had them winning in 2. That's what makes sense to me. But if you look, the reason why, I'll tell you in a second, is because the Red Sox have such a good team. I'm just reading off their lineup for today. Rob Refsnyder is leading off. Masataka Yoshida, Trevor Story, Alex Bregman, Romy Gonzalez, Carlos Narvaez, Nate Eden, Jaron Dern, Sedina Rafaela, and Nick Sogard. There's so much depth in this lineup, and it's just such a good team, and it's hard to beat. And the Yankees just don't perform like their regular self in the postseason. So that's why I had them winning in 3, because they're always going to find a way to sell, pretty much. So yeah, right now it's 3-3 in the middle of the 7th inning, and I'll tell you about that a little bit more about that later. As the game continues, I'll tell you who won. So basically, there's just so much depth in the Red Sox team, and depth for pitching doesn't matter in the postseason, but depth for batting and everything does. So that's when they have depth for batting, and that's why I think that they have a chance at taking a game, or that's what I thought, and they ended up taking game 1. But I do think that the Yankees will bounce back, take a close win here today, and then probably get a good 4-run, 5-run win tomorrow. So yeah, that's my prediction for that series. I'm going to move over to the next series, which is the Guardians and Tigers series. So the Tigers ended their season very disappointing. Basically, at one point they were the best team in NFL by record. At one point, only for a short amount of time, but they were at the top for a while. Maybe top 5. They were top 5 for a long time, and then they just kind of dropped at the end. They went from being the 1 seed in their in the AL, and now they're the 6th seed. So the Guardians kind of had a better second half, because they were 8 seed, 9 seed too. They weren't doing well, but then all of a sudden they had that bounce back, and they ended up getting the 3 seed. The Tigers are the Guardians have more experience with this in the postseason. They're a really strong team, but I just don't think that I can see the Guardians winning this because of how good of a team the Tigers are. It's hard for me to believe that. But yesterday the Tigers won. They already finished their game today. So yesterday the Tigers won. Give me a second. They won 2-1. It was a close game. Today the Guardians won 6-1. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. they play, and the winner of that advances, and the loser, their season's over, basically. But if you look at the Tigers team, Gleyber Torres, Kerry Carpenter, Parker Meadows, Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, it's just there's such a they have so many. They have all-stars, and they have the really good role players. And when you combine that, it's just wow. It's the Boston Celtics of basketball, not current Boston Celtics, because right now they basically traded away or everyone is injured. But like they had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum as their all-stars, but then Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, all great role players. Anyway, yeah. But if we look at the Guardians, Stephen Kwan, Daniel Schneemann, Jonathan Rodriguez, Jose Ramirez, Bo Naylor, it's just they also have so much depth in their batting. If we're looking at pitching, though, I mean, the Tigers just have such a good pitch, have so many good pitchers. Like, I just can't see the Guardians winning this. They're not, like, the Guardians have more experience, but this season, the Tigers have been such a strong team, and I can't see the Guardians winning this. I have to say that the Tigers are going to end up winning this. So, yeah, those are my predictions for the 2 wild card series. I'm going to pretend like my predictions will be correct, and I'll say who the Blue Jays, who they'll play, because the Blue Jays are the 1 seed, and they play the winner of the Yankees-Red Sox series. I predict that the Yankees win that series. So I'm going to say Blue Jays versus Yankees, and I'm going to give who I think will win on that. Again, the Blue Jays were a good team, but they weren't that great. At the end of the season, they just bounced back, and they just stole a 1 seed that was like at the Tigers for a while, and they somehow got it. They're such a good team, and you know they have a lot of like talent on their team. George Springer, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and then even if you're looking at pitching, Max Scherzer. There's a lot actually, but like they're such a strong team with so many good players. I'm surprised that they weren't like the big like that. They weren't the how can I say this? That they were not the like 1 seed for a while, because even last season too they still had the same players. I'm surprised that they weren't the 1 seed for a while because they just have such a good team. But if we're looking at the Yankees, Trent Grisham, Aaron Judge, it's such a hard thing. Like, I've been thinking about this for a while. Who would win the series? I had to think about it before I made this video. And honestly, I have the Yankees winning this series. It's just, let me explain. Basically, the Yankees have more pitching. Like, the Blue Jays have great pitching, but the Yankees have better overall. They have more pitching. They have more, like, both teams are actually great in terms of this. They have more all-stars / great role players. Both teams are actually 2 of the best at this, having either all-stars or great role players and having a lot of that on their team. Both teams are 2 of the best in the league at having that, but the Yankees are probably number 1. I just can't. They're just also such an experienced team when it comes to the postseason. Everybody on their team has been here before, besides the rookies. But even the rookies will get used to this after like a season or 2 if they stay on the Yankees. But basically, I just can't see the Yankees losing this. They're just such a good team. And yeah, that's why I have them winning against the Blue Jays. So the next series is, if my prediction is correct, it's going to be the Tigers and the Mariners series. So, basically, give me a second. Okay, so basically, the Mariners stole. They're the 2 seed, but they have an MVP candidate, Cal Raleigh, on their team. They also have multiple All-Stars: Julio Rodriguez, Josh Naylor, Brian Will, Eugenio Suarez, Randy Rosarena. It's just, wow. Like, George Kirby, I could go for a while. They have so much talent on their team, and they're just such a good team in general. Like, they're, especially if you look at, like, if you think about what's an all-star position, like what positions normally have the best players in it, you think left field, right field, shortstop, first base, whatever. There's great players at every position. It's just what has the most. But they have the great players at uncommon great positions. Catcher, Julio Rodriguez is center field, and center field is pretty like stacked, but it's still probably on the lower side. Left and right field have better players than center field. They have a great third baseman. They have great pitchers. It goes on for a while. And, like, honestly, I just can't see the Mariners losing this because they're just such a strong team. I have to see them going, at least winning their one series, if not two or more. I have to see them at least win one series. They're just such a strong team. And Cal Raleigh had first catcher ever to have 60 home runs in a season. He exploded out of nowhere. Last season, he was still batting fourth on his team. He was still a good player, but no one ever thought of him as an MVP candidate. All of a sudden, this season, he is probably going to be the MVP. So it's just so, like, wow to see that the Mariners, because last year, did the Mariners even make the playoffs last year? No, I don't think so. Let's see. The Mariners, no, they didn't even make the playoffs last year. And now they get the 2 seed. They're just such a good, like, strong team. I have to see them win at least one, and that's what I think will happen. And so that's why I have them taking this first game. So, next game, if my predictions are correct, it would be, actually, the winner of this would go to the World Series. It would be the Mariners and Yankees. I had to think about this for a while. Both teams are so good, like, incredibly good. The Yankees, I feel like the Yankees are chokers, if I'm not going to lie. Because, like, I feel like they had a better team than the Dodgers last year and should have won in the World Series, but just somehow found a way to choke. But they're both just such good teams, and, like, I don't know, this is hard for me, but I came to a decision, and now it's time to share it. So basically, if you look at, like, if you ask anyone, who do you think is making World Series, they're going to say, oh, Yankees, Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, Yankees this, Yankees that, whatever. Almost everyone's going to say Yankees. And so, you know, using other people's opinions to help me out a little bit. You know, I did some research in who ESPN's reporters would think win this matchup, who's a better team, and their power rankings for best teams and everything. And honestly, I just had to have the Yankees winning the series. I've already gone over both their lineups. They're both extremely stacked. For the Mariners, it's more of like they have 4 or 5 insanely good players, to where the Yankees, it's like I can name like 10 players on their team that are all very good. Not insane, but very good. They will have a few insane players, but that's less than the Mariners, and pretty much everyone else is just very good. And honestly, I like more good depth than bad, like then very good, but then a lot of bad too. So that's why I have the Yankees going to the World Series this year. Let's go to the NL now, all the way to the other side, to the National League. First series, Cubs and Padres. So yesterday the Cubs won, today the Padres won. The Cubs are the 4th seed and the Padres are the 5 seed. I think that the Padres are super, like, underrated. They have a very stacked team, and I have them winning tomorrow. I don't need to go over their lineups. People know. Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Luis Arraez, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, Gavin Sheets. It's just wow. They are honestly, they've been this entire year a World Series contender. They just don't know how to win games. But, like, you can go through, like, pretty much your entire starting rotation. There's not a single weakness there. They're just all so good. They just need to learn how to win games, basically. But I have them winning tomorrow and playing the 1-seed Brewers in the NLDS. Next, it's the 3-seeded Dodgers playing the 6-seeded Reds. So, the Mets were supposed to have the 6th seed, but then they choked the end of the season. They were supposed to have the 1 or 2 seed, actually, but then they choked, and they don't have it. I have the Dodgers beating the Reds. Honestly, there's not much question here. It's the Reds. Yesterday, the Dodgers beat the Reds. They play again today. I'm trying to figure out what time. The Dodgers and Reds today play in about 30 minutes, actually. And if the Dodgers win today, then the Reds season is unfortunately over for Reds fans. That's unfortunate. They're probably going to win today. I have them winning today. It's just there's not much to talk about here. The Dodgers are by far a stronger team. Shohei Ohtani MVP candidate, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Clayton Kershaw just retired, but other than that, Yoki, they have so much pitching, so much batting. It's gonna be the Dodgers really. Next would be the Padres versus the one-seeded Brewers. I have the Padres taking this actually, in probably like 4 or 5 games. It's not going to be a 3-game sweep or anything. So, basically, the reason why I'm saying this is the Dodgers are just such a strong team. The Brewers need to work it. They're such a young team. Once the Brewers can, figure out how to get older, basically, they'll be good. Christian Yelich, he's just too young. He's not very young, actually. Christian Yelich is not young. I don't know why I said that. Their team in general is young. Christian Yelich does not have any experience in the postseason. How many times has he been to the postseason? 4 maybe 4 times. This is his 10th season, maybe 3 or 2 even. I think this is his first time as a Brewer. Anyway, they weren't a good team last year. They weren't a good team before that. They just somehow were able to get the 1 seed. The Padres, though, I already named all their good players. You want me to keep? I can keep going. Dylan Cease, Michael King. It's wow. I saw Mason Miller strike out 8 or 9 in a row players today on the Cubs. It was crazy. He went literally through the first batter to the 9th batter in a row strikeouts. It was crazy. I just had the Padres beating the Brewers and moving on to the NLCS, the National League Championship Series. The next series is the one that's been having me literally bite my nails this entire time. The 2-seeded Phillies versus the 3-seeded Dodgers. So, I've been this on this series. I can't figure out who's going to win this because both teams are so stacked. Both teams are 2 out of unless you're actually counting standings, they're probably 2 of the top 4 teams in the MLB. And I just don't know who's going to take this game. Both of them are so dang good. But I just have to go with the Phillies. The Dodgers, they're just getting older. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, they're getting older. Shohei Ohtani is not doing, he's doing good. And I think this year was the most home runs he's ever had in a season before. But he's not what he used to be a few seasons ago. I just don't have them winning. And that might be surprising, but it's hard for me to say that they're winning. I had the Phillies winning. They're just a much younger team. They do have Kyle Schwarber, who's a star, but he's old. But also Bryce Harper is just a tank. It's just, wow. I had the Phillies winning this. There's not a lot to talk about there. The next series is the Padres and the Phillies. This is a nail biter for me, but I have to go Phillies again. It's just the Padres are good, but also, when have you even seen them get past the end? Have they even been to the NLCS? Or when they've either been losing in the NLDS or NLCS. I forget, but they always choke, either if it's against the Dodgers or another team. They're always losing in these parts of the postseason. To say that they're gonna win is so hard because the Phillies are just such a stacked team. And again, the Phillies are probably a top 3 team in the MLB, maybe even top 2. And that's why I have the Phillies beating the Padres. They're just not the Phillies are just such a strong team to where the Padres need to learn. If the Padres get this far and they go against the Phillies, and then they make it go to 6 or 7 games, 6-7. If they make it go to 6 or 7 games, then maybe they can. If they can make it go to 6 or 7 games, then they'll have experience, and next year they might have a chance. Because Fernando Tatis Jr. is so young, Luis Arraez is so young. They have some veterans, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, but like still, their team is just so young, and I can't see them winning this year. But maybe next year or the following year they can win if they get experience in this year and go deep this year. Now comes the World Series. The Phillies versus the Yankees. I've been thinking about this for so long, but I'm just going to announce who I think is going to win, and then I'm going to explain myself. In the postseason of 2025, I have the Yankees winning it all. They're just the best team in MLB. Like, they might only have the 4th seed. They might have lost yesterday. Their season might be over today for all I know, but they're just so strong. I can't imagine them losing. They're just so strong. And the Phillies are also such a good team, so it's so hard for me to say that they're going to lose. But when they're playing the Yankees, like, how are you not going to lose? The Yankees I think they blew it last year and they choked, and they should have beat the Dodgers. But they didn't. I think that they also maybe a few years ago should have won it too, but they also choked a few years ago, especially when their team was like really good, when like DJ LeMahieu was still good, Anthony Rizzo, all that. But now those are like bench players and players who are about to retire. But they were just so good, and they are still so good, and I just can't see them losing. That's why I had the Yankees winning the World Series in 2025. Next, so we've only done like 25 minutes of this so far. Obviously, this is a long podcast. I'm going to go for like 50 minutes, 40 minutes. We'll see how long this next part takes us, because right now we're going to be talking about the biggest chokers of the 2025 MLB season. So, obviously, the most obvious choker, the Mets. They should have made the postseason. They were like the 1 and 2 seed at various points, but they choked very hard. So the way I'm gonna explain myself that they choked is I'm gonna tell you their record from like 20 games ago, and then tell you their record at the end of the season. So, okay. On September 7th, they played the Cincinnati Reds. Their record was 76 and 67. Okay? 76 and 67. On their last game of the season, their record was 83 and 79. Now I know you're thinking, okay, and so that's only like a 5-game difference? 6-game difference in losses. I guess in that time they like lost 12 of the games that they played and won 8 or something. No, it would be they lost 13 and won 7. Now I'm gonna go to All-Star break. I'm gonna say the record right before All-Star break. The record right before All-Star break was, I'm actually just going to go to May 17th. Again, they played the Yankees on May 17th. The record was 29 and 17. So I know, okay, that's good, but that's not crazy good. Okay, that was May 17th. Now I'm going to go to, give me a second. I'm going to go to June 24th against the Braves. 46 and 34. So they had 12 more wins than losses for a month straight. Maybe it was 11 at one point, maybe it was 13 at one point, but they stayed in that area. Then they completely sold, okay? They ended up only winning 4 more games than losing. They made a spot for the Reds, and the Reds somehow were able to get a good end to their season. And if the Mets won their last game, I think that they would have made the postseason. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it's just, that's what happened, and it's so crazy. Everybody knows that the Mets choked this season. That's why I had them as the number 1 team that I want to talk about. But they're just chokers. Francisco Lindor underperformed at the end of the season. Juan Soto underperformed the entire season. Pete Alonso was the only one who stayed on the same level. Starling Marte didn't play as expected. He played worse. So yeah. The next team that I'm going to talk about, biggest chokers, is the Colorado Rockies. So I know what you're thinking. How are they choking? They kept winning and losing the same amount of games. They were just losing for a while. That's not choking. They won 43 games at the end of the season. Last year, the White Sox won 41 or something, 42, and they set a record for worst team ever. The Rockies were one loss away from doing that. If you go back to June 16th, their record was 15-57. That's on track to win 35 games or something. Yeah, even more. That's on track to win, 35 games-ish. They picked it up at the end of the season, only by a little bit, because they only won 6 extra games or something. 7 extra games, whatever. But they still didn't, they were that close to losing. And they actually won a game towards the end of the season, which is actually pretty rare for the Rockies to do. Let me see. At the end of the season, they beat the Angels. They actually beat the Angels twice, on September 21st and September 19th. If they lost both of those games, they would have set the record for worst team of all time. If they lost one of those games, they would have tied the record for worst team of all time. I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure that 42 was the record. Anyway, they're just such big chokers. How can you do that? How can you be second worst team of all time or tied at second worst or something like that? That's so bad. I'm sorry. Wow. I just can't. How do you win 43 games? I'm sorry. What is this general manager doing? Because to have a team with that bad, they didn't have a single all-star, even a single good role player. Their entire team was made out of regular role players and some bad players. That's how bad it was. The only times they would win games was when they were playing the already injured, half the team injured, against an already bad team, and they would win by 1 point. They would play the Angels, who are already bad, with half of their team injured, Mike Trout out, all their good players out, and then win by 1 point, and those were the only times they would win this season. It was bad, basically. Basically, that's what I have for biggest chokers of the 2025 MLB season. That's only 2 teams, so I'm going to do biggest winners of the 2025 MLB season. So first up, I got the White Sox. I know you're thinking, how are you even talking about that? They literally I'm going to check their record right now. They won 60 games last season. That's not a lot. That's actually bad. But they won 42 last season, set the record. So to bounce back and to be able to not break their own record, that's very good. They actually had, on their last game of the season, they almost threw a perfect game between combined pitchers. They had Shane Smith, Tyler Alexander, Jordan Leisure, and Jonathan Cannon on the mound during the game. None of them had a walk, and Shane Smith had 1 hit off of him. No one else had a hit off of them. They were this close to basically having a perfect, what's it called? A perfect game between a few players. So, basically, that's my take on that. There's not much to talk about in terms of everything else going on during the season. So I'm going to end the video, actually, because there's not much to talk about. The game didn't finish. The Yankees and Red Sox game. It's 3-3 in the bottom of the 8th. It's going pretty slow. But yeah, that's about it. Sorry, I'm tired. That's about it for today's episode. Make sure you subscribe so I can start making those long videos. Comment down below if you liked the video. I love to do this content, and I hope that you can subscribe. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.